What's going on, everybody? It's Dan, Moonshine, the Hillbilly Hellraiser. How you doing? I'm doing all right. I can't really complain. It's been all right for me for the most part. It's the end of my week. I just closed out another work week, so that was cool. Got the weekend to look forward to. Go do some stuff. Lift some weights, eat some food, relax, listen to some tunes, and just try to take it easy. I'm probably gonna watch a Chuck Norris flick when I get done doing this. I've been binging those at the end of the night when I can, when it's not too late for me. Gotta get your rest, get your shut eye. It's important, folks. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of those. I just figured, all things being what they were with Chuck Norris, figured I'd watch his movies and been having a blast doing that. But beyond that, I'm sure I got tons of other stuff that I could talk about, some records I picked up and albums I picked up, but I'll do that at a later time. But I do have one thing that I'm going to talk about here. It is going to be the brand new, this just came in the mail today, but I have cheated and I have listened to it multiple times. It's going to be the new COC, Good God, Bad Man. Fantastic stuff. I figured I would open it with you all here. I just open it up. I slice the cellophane real quick just to do that. As you can see, you got the classic COC emblem on there, the logo. This is COC's 11th studio album. This is going to be the first, it's the second on Nuclear Blast, but it's the first to feature Bobby Landgraf, who was playing with Down on a couple of albums. It's the first one with him on bass. He took over for Mike Dean when Mike Dean left the band. I think Mike Dean, I don't know if he completely retired. He didn't necessarily retire, but he does a lot of production work. I know he was working with this band Crystal Spiders, who I picked up their album last year, which was decent, but he was doing some work with them. Uh, and it's going to be but just so you can kind of, before I check that out, that's pretty cool stuff there. Check out some of the liner notes there. This is the second album here since we're on the subject here, since you're seeing him. This is the second one with Stanton Moore, who took over for the deceased Reed Mullen. Rest in peace to Reed. And this is the second album. It's his first one returning back since 2005's In the Arms of God. And of course, you got Woody Weatherman, Pepper Keenan, guitars. Pepper does guitar and vocals now. Anyone who's followed COC for any length of time knows that they have undergone massive changes throughout their career, starting out as more of a hardcore crossover band and then slowly but surely drifting into more like a stoner southern rock kind of vibe to them, owing just as much of their sound to Leonard Skinner, I should say, as they do to Black Flag. So very cool stuff. When I first got into COC, it was when Deliverance came out. Actually, no, probably even before it was Blind. That was probably a couple of the first songs I heard were Vote with a Bullet and listen to Dance of the Dead. Then Carl Agel, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He was doing vocals for him at the time, but Pepper did Vote with a Bullet, and then he took over on the next album doing vocals and guitar, and they did not suffer from the change. Carl's a great vocalist, but just the point being is that they still did a really good job, and they're one of my favorite bands as far as the sludge, stonery kind of southern vibe metal type of stuff. It's really cool stuff. I really enjoy it. And then just, there's the back cover. That's the Bad Man, and there's the Good God. And this is the cover art on this was done by, let me see. I wrote this down. Scott Goulin, Warren Riker produced this. I'm gonna try if I can to read this, but I probably won't be able to, so I apologize for not being able to. I want to say that says Dockside Studios. Is that Dockside Studios? But the print is it's really small there. Maybe you'll have a better shot at seeing what it says than I will if it would come into focus, which it's probably not going to do. But I'm pretty sure that says Dockside Studios. But there's a ton of credits on this one. But yeah, man, this is a fantastic album. Like I said, I've cheated already. I've listened to it multiple times before my copy showed up. I was listening to it at the gym. I was listening to it at home. I was listening to it at the gym again. I was listening to it in on my way to work, on my way back from work. I was just listening to it about a half hour ago. And yeah, man, fantastic, fantastic stuff. It starts off with Good God, Good God, Final Dawn. It's a riff monster. Anyone familiar with COC, you know the tag that they've given themselves, which is appropriate. It was one of their album titles. These are America's volume dealers, and they deal in very heavy doses. It's lots of overdriven, riff heavy, very groove heavy, lots of bluesy, lots of again groovy, sometimes psychedelic stuff. You know, it's just it's all good. It's good stuff. But yeah, Good God, Final Dawn. That's just a riff monster to start out. Fantastic opener. You or Me. It's very cerebral in the way that it kind of weaves between the riff heavy, overdriven rock passages into more like the soundscape type of stuff, where it almost kind of it lends itself to almost a psychedelic kind of vibe, almost kind of like a hallucinatory vibe. Goes into a little bit of a bluesy, like a bluesy passage later, and then teases us with like a 6 second, like heavy, heavy, heavy riff. Just a fantastic riff that you blink and it's gone. Kicks right into Give Me Some More, which was the first single, and just a very hard driving rocking song. I don't know if they named the song "Give Me Some More" because they gave us some more, and it was Stanton, and he was killing it on the drums. Just a very his drum work is very powerful and very precise. I don't listen to Porcupine Tree, but I'm very familiar with them, and I know how good of a band that they are. I actually have buddies of mine who they're not metal people. They don't listen to anything outside of like blues and hard rock and stuff like that. And they've told me about Porcupine Tree and been very high on that band. So when I heard back in '05 in the Arms of God that Stanton Moore was going to play with the band, I was raving about it back then. But he's a fantastic, excellent player, very powerful, very precise. His attacks are throughout this entire album are really good. I mean, he's an excellent drummer. Can't really say much, can't really say much more than that. He's a nice addition to the band, even though, he was with the band before, but you know what I mean. And Bobby Landgraf, I'll just talk about him briefly. He does a really good job on this album. He plays his part well. His bass work is really smooth. He gets a couple times to shine in Bedouin's Hand and Mandrasonos, which I'm getting ahead of myself. I got a couple other songs I'll talk about, but that one kind of it goes right into Asleep on the Killing Floor, which is really Mandra. I mean, and that goes right into Asleep on the Killing Floor, which is a really cool song. Going back, Lose Yourself. That's all right. That's a song where I have to sit more with it because it was I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it the first couple times that I heard it. So I got to sit with that a little bit more. Maybe something more will click with me. So that was probably my least favorite song on the album, but there's really not a bad song on this album in my opinion. It's very very good. Run for Your Life is probably my favorite song on the album. It's just so so groove heavy and so bluesy. The lead breaks on it that Woody and Pepper do are so soulful, and they're so they're scintillating is the best way I could describe it. Just very killer stuff. There's a very powerful outro that they close out the song with. It kind of has one of those like profound, meaningful speeches. I don't know if it's from a movie or not. There's a couple samples on here that I don't know if they're from movies or not, but I couldn't really place them. But very cool stuff. Very well placed. Baad Man's a very cool, groovy rocker. Kind of has a lot of Wise Blood vibes to it. And a lot of the different songs on here, you can like pick out the different eras of COC and kind of pick up where maybe they took some inspiration from some of their early work, but updated it for this album. So it's not really like you can get those nostalgic feels, but it's not derivative if that makes any sense. But yeah, man, and then I would say uh, Handcuff Country. That's got so much dirty South groove on it, and it's it seems like it's very ZZ Top inspired. Like the idea of it came from listening to a lot of ZZ Top. I mean, it's so gritty and dirty. You can almost smell the cheap beer and the sawdust on the floor with that one. And yeah, man, that's a good one. That's one of my favorite ones. Swallow the Anchor. That's a real cool one. Lots of nasty groove on that one. And you got Stan Moore again. He's I hate this term, but I'll use it for now. Showing out with the wood, banging on a wood block. And I mean, it's got such the groove to the song itself is great, but that just kind of adds that final accent to it that it'll just get your head, your toes, your tush bopping, whatever it is. That's a real good like kind of move. It'll get you moving kind of song. Yeah, then it closes out. There's one more. What's the name of it? It was like the soft number on the song or on the song. What am I saying? Brickman. Brickman was kind of like it was like like almost a ballad, more piano. It's like an acoustic piano piece and acoustic guitar, piano. It kind of had a lot of like Shelter from Deliverance. It had a lot of kind of reminded me of that quite a bit. Not my favorite stuff, but it's fine for what it is. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my favorite type of thing. And then closes out with Forever Amplified, which is a fantastic closer. Really volumic, overdriven stuff. Again, these are Sons of Raleigh, North Carolina, and America's volume dealers. I mean, this is what they deal in is volume, and they bring it in spades. The ending was kind of cool. Had almost a gospely, inspirational type of vibe to it towards the tail end, but a nice way to close out the album. I would say that this, again, we've been getting spoiled as far as stuff that's been coming out the first quarter of the year. It's been amazing some of the releases that have been coming out right out of the rip, and this is definitely it's going to be one that's going to be high up on my list of things. I was almost I was thinking to myself, I almost want to get this on volume or on volume. I've had it on volume, trust me. But I almost want to get it on vinyl because I think that it probably, if it's coming in a gatefold or anything like that, that's going to be kind of like a cool deal to see, and some of the liner notes and everything. But the problem with that, as anybody who does any sort of collecting knows, is that then you kind of get into that almost like kind of like now I gotta get the whole collection, and then you start, you know, I'm not trying to go broke. I figured I got most all of my CDs or all my CDs they if I could spit it out, all my COC stuff is on CD, so I pretty much I'm good with that. But I might pick it up on vinyl because it's just a cool find and a cool pickup. It's a great album. I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of COC, if you're a fan of that Southern Fried stoner rock, little doom elements, just very groovy and bluesy, and riff heavy and lead breaks out the wazoo. You know, this is a great one. I mean, Pepper, his voice is great, and there was a point I was thinking to myself, it's kind of funny to me where I just kind of had like one of those. I was listening to and having one of those introspective moments at the gym in between sets and doing my thing, and I was like, man, you just you grow up with some of these bands, and it's crazy to think how like they're getting old. You know, we're all getting older, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you can hear the maturation of the sound, but it still stays true to form. But it's just it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of one of those weird things. I guess maybe one of those things that I'm thinking about as I'm getting older, and just how you growing up with some of these bands and these albums and watching them evolve over time. And it's cool to see your favorite band, or at least one of my favorite bands, they've still got it, they're still holding it together, they're still staying true and kicking ass and bringing the volume and bringing the riffs. And it's, you know, it's cool. I really enjoy it. You know, it's one of those things you always kind of, you know, in the back of my mind at least, because they've been out of commission for about 8 years. You kind of wonder, oh, do they still got it? Is the album going to be a stinker? Are they just going to like kind of are they going to rely and lean on too heavily on nostalgia bait? And it's nothing like that. This is all you, like I said, you can hear little bits and pieces of the various eras of the band, probably minus more of the hardcore stuff, but by and large, all the stuff that I really enjoy, you can hear lots of it throughout the entire album. But it still it stays fresh. It stays heavy. It stays groovy. It stays a riff monster throughout the entire thing. Yeah, man, I would highly recommend this one. So yeah, go pick this up. Good God, Bad Man. It's out on Nuclear Blast now. COC, the Corrosion of Conformity. They in my mind, they really don't miss that much. And this one is certainly no exception. So yeah, man, that's what I got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you tell your friends, tell your this one, tell your that one. Go share this out. You know, let me know what you thought of it. But yeah, very killer stuff. So I'm gonna get going. I'm kind of getting a little bit hungry. I'm gonna go eat some food, go watch a Chuck Norris flick, and then just, you know, kind of chill out and get ready and enjoy my weekend. All right. This is Dan. This has been Moonshine Talking. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, go give this thing a thumbs up or share a comment, you know, share it out, leave a comment. You know, if you're new here and you just happen to find my stuff, you know, welcome aboard. You know, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that always helps. Go and checking out the videos. But if, you know, you just check it out and you're like, who is this guy? You know, I'm not worrying about it too much. Uh, but yeah, that's it. And as always, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal. Always tuck a chin upon impact. Don't forget to breathe. Everybody have a good one. Take it easy, and I will catch you on the next video. Later.